Welcome to another episode of LR-Mania Reviews, and today I'm going to be reviewing two shows off the WWE Network. Now, it's going to be a different change of scenery from the previous three episodes. I've been doing reviews of WWE Special 24, which are WWE documentaries. So this is going to be different mainly because I'm doing these reviews with NXT Takeover, and I decided to hold off on the WWE 24, and they will resume on episode 7 when I review NXT Takeover Brooklyn, which also has its own WWE 24. So I wanted to do an episode with those two shows together, and also there are other WWE documentaries on the network prior to them starting this 24 series, so I decided to review these other documentaries before I get to the WWE 24 documentaries with NXT Takeover. And also, by the time I'll finish up the Takeover reviews, I'll also be done with these 24 episodes. And these things are basically 24 episodes. They just didn't start the series yet. So let's start with our first one, Journey to WrestleMania 30, Daniel Bryan. You know, in this documentary, it starts off when they hire him in NXT. Then it, this is not the good NXT. This is when NXT was this glorified, tough enough type of show. Was a piece of shit, just the worst show I've ever seen. I'm not lying, that show sucked. Then of course they show when he gets fired and rehired, and they show John Cena. I don't know if if it was real, but he seems to be really upset with the firing, and so was Pat Patterson. And then, of course, we go to WrestleMania 27 when he was bumped from the card. I like how they go quick from a year, so they're at 27, he gets dumped from the card, and of course he does the yes thing, he's the world champion, now he goes into WrestleMania 28. Having seen this documentary before, it's really good. The one thing I remember I did not like is the fact that midway through it, they kind of go, at first they're like not really concentrating on kayfabe, then they go back into kayfabe mode and work mode, and it doesn't come off good. That's my only problem with it. I think the thing I like most about this is Daniel Bryan's really a great guy, very genuine, very nice guy. So it's really easy to watch anything he's in. This documentary, it's really a good documentary. I think this is actually the first documentary the WWE ever produced on the WWE Network, if I'm not mistaken. It's called Journey to WrestleMania, Daniel Bryan. So I'm really enjoying it. They really talk about the fans hijacking the shows, and I think this whole hijack Raw and all this stuff, it still goes on today for different reasons. It all started because of Daniel Bryan. I think ever since WrestleMania 30, I might be on that, but I think the WrestleMania 30 era from 2014 is a new era. Like the last few years, 2014, 15, 16, 17, they feel a bit different for me than the previous years. And I really feel like in ways it's a different era. I got the feeling, I might be off on that, some might correct me, that's how I felt. That Seattle Raw crowd when they hijacked the show was awesome, and then of course the Pittsburgh crowd at the Royal Rumble was pretty awesome too. So the documentary just follows them around New Orleans. It's entertaining, it's good. I'm really enjoying it. They show John Cena and Daniel Bryan talking. It's just really stupid. You hear John Cena asking, "Are you healthy? Are you healthy?" Who the hell asks anyone that? That just came off just so lame. I think that was just so fake. I thought the documentary ended up being a really good thing, really entertaining, really good. Very early, first documentary they really produced. I thought it was really good, really makes you like Daniel Bryan even more. So I thought this documentary was great, and I really liked WrestleMania 30. Really thought that was just a great show. So the whole lead up to that show and after the show, there was a lot of sad stuff that happened. Just such a memorable weekend in wrestling. Just one of the most memorable WrestleManias of all time, similar to WrestleMania 3. The first WrestleMania, then 30, then 17. I mean, 30 is up there as one of the most talked about and remembered WrestleManias of all time. And this show was 3 years ago. It's surprising it's been that long. Really one of the most talked about Manias ever. Overall, really enjoyed it. If you're a big Daniel Bryan fan, I'd highly recommend watching this documentary. Now let's get on to the second part of the review, which is going to be a review of NXT Takeover, Our Evolution. I really like the opening of the show. Kevin Owens comes out to a huge pop. Really fun. Really good way to start the show. Huge pop. I really liked how the show started. The match, it wasn't a squash match with Owens and CJ Parker. By the way, CJ Parker sucks. Match wasn't really a squash match, but I really liked it. I thought it was good. It was quick, and one thing they added was Kevin Owens bleeding. Bleeding sometimes adds, or blood adds to matches, and this really added to it. And it was a really, really nice opening, and just a nice quick showcase for Kevin Owens, and I enjoyed it for what it was. You had the Lucha Dragons beat the Vaudevillains in an okay match. Not a very boring match at first. Lucha Dragons are nothing now. Kalisto's a jobber. Sin Cara has just been a complete disaster. Sin Cara's a complete loser. That whole thing from Mystico to Hunico, it's been a disaster. The Vaudevillains, Gotch is released. Aiden English is doing nothing. So nothing happened to these guys on the main roster. Here they had an average tag match. Nothing special. There's just nothing to these guys. Not a bad match. Just okay. Just kind of there. They had Baron Corbin squash Ty Dillinger. It's funny to look at where their careers have gone now. Corbin, they're trying to push him on SmackDown, but Ty Dillinger, he was such a jobber. He was in NXT or developmental really for so long. He was released and brought back, and now he's starting to finally get a push. He's created this perfect 10, and he's really a nice feel-good story to see where he's come from and how far he's come. So, you can't help but root for Ty Dillinger. And it's funny, here he's just a complete jobber. Now, 2 years later, on the main roster. So Ascension comes out, Hideo Tommy comes out, and now this is the first ever big demon entrance for Finn Balor. And that was just awesome. His entrance is just so good. And this is the first time, and it's still special seeing it. One thing I hate about this match, even though the match is actually a good match, just the fans have to chant, marking out, marking out. Please shut the fuck up. One thing when you watch the match, I really noticed, Ascension is just awful. They're both just horrible workers, and when they dominate the match, it's dreadful to watch at points. Even though the match eventually picks up and gets really good, when Ascension's in control, they just suck the air. I think the Ascension is just one of the worst teams I've seen in a long time. Both of them are just, Victor's okay, Connor is so bad. Enjoyed the match again. The go to sleep pop with the Hideo was huge, and overall the match was a bit slow at parts, but it got really good at the end, and they ended up having a good tag team match. So I think this was the first in the best of 1,000 series between Charlotte and Sasha. This was for the NXT title. Watching this match, you can really tell this is really the rise of Sasha. This is not the match that I think maybe in ways that people start to take a different look at her. For many years, the fans would always chant Sasha is retro. They never took her seriously, but I think after this match, it elevated her stock, and then, of course, the next year, she would have just great match after great match after great match, in particular the match of Bayley at Brooklyn. She really, you can really feel this is the rise of a star, and I really think Sasha Banks is a star. And of course, Charlotte, we all know, is amazing. Charlotte, in my opinion, is by far the best female on the roster right now. Her confidence, her in-ring work, her promo ability, her charisma, she's just doing amazing things right now. Now, this is really, again, in the midst of the whole women's revolution, they had a really, really good match. I'd even say one of my favorite matches. They've had so many matches on the main roster. I kind of like this match more than most of them. Really, really enjoyed it. Thought that was great. Got really exciting. I think Sasha's just a great worker, and Charlotte again, really good. Charlotte's a little green here, but you can tell. I think Sasha's by far, the most athletic or high-flying woman they have, or the fastest woman they have on that roster. She is really, really, really good, and it shows here. I think they should let her be heel. I think she can do a really better job at heel, and I think our problem with this rivalry is Charlotte made Sasha her bitch. Sasha always loses to Charlotte on the pay-per-views on the main roster, but it doesn't matter. I think both of them are really, really good, and I think those are probably the two best females they have, if I had to say two. I like Bayley a lot, but I think in terms of the whole package, and especially in ring, on the mic, I think those two are the best. And Sasha right now is not very good on the mic because she sucks. She's stale as a face, but when she turns heel, she'll be really good. So I really like this. Then, of course, we get to, I think, the best match of 2014, which was the main event, Sami Zayn versus Adrian Neville. Sami Zayn and Neville, they absolutely tore the house down. When this match was first announced, they obviously had a lot of pressure on them because everyone was expecting these two to have one of the greatest matches of all time, and sometimes that's unfair because some guys, when you have that expectations, they'll go in there have a great match, but sometimes it's not a classic. This was a classic. The storytelling, the emotion, Sami Zayn winning the title, everything about this match was just excellent. The crowd was super into it. Sami Zayn is so over. He has so much potential. I hate using this comparison, but I think it's appropriate, especially since the first review I already talked about with Daniel Bryan. Sami Zayn is the next Daniel Bryan, if the WWE allows it and they don't fight it. Look at Daniel Bryan. He's this really nice guy. Sami Zayn's a really nice guy. He's a great wrestler. Zayn's a great wrestler. He's a bearded guy, not a very good-looking man. But, he's just this really great wrestler who is a really nice guy. And they just have so many similarities. It's really funny. I really think he can be a big star if they let him. If maybe they do a WrestleMania 30 one time, they to Daniel Bryan push for Sami Zayn, but I really, really think Sami Zayn has massive potential, and this was my favorite match of that year in WWE. This was just an excellent match. They just had such a great match, and this show, Our Evolution, is arguably the best NXT of all time. I think it probably is. I really like the Brooklyn show. And the Dallas show was great. Maybe the Dallas show, but it's up there. You can make a case it's the best NXT show of all time. I thought the show was just great. Then, of course, the angle at the end with Kevin Owens turning on Sami Zayn. I felt conflicted about it. One, you want the focus to be on Sami's big win, but then it was such a great angle. I thought it was the right decision, and then he gets carried out on a stretcher, and a really, really good ending, and it really made you want more even after this show. And I just thought this show was this was a great NXT show, and they just killed it here. The booking on the show was great. It was just a kick-ass show, and I think again, you can say arguably the best NXT show of all time.